Hi guys, it's Jacey. So today I've got a pretty crazy story time. And you might be like thinking I'm lying or thinking I'm being dramatic or not believe me or take me seriously, but this is actually one of like the most traumatizing things that has ever happened to me. And you might be thinking like, why would a celebrity be stalking you? Who are you? Like, what's so important about you? Like, you know what I mean? And the answer is nothing at all. It wouldn't have mattered who I am. It's just like the time, the place, and the situation. And it's not like this is like an A-list or B-list even celebrity. Like, this person is definitely known. They definitely have like a lot of famous acquaintances that they like have toured with, such as like Common, Wiz Khalifa. Like, they definitely have a lot of money and power, and obviously I'm not going to say their name because this is an issue that I'm like still trying to deal with, and like called and cried to my family about it over because it has literally terrified and scared the living shit out of me. So anyway, I'm just going to get right into it. Back in September of 2015, I moved to Mississippi with my grandmother, and it's one of the awfulest places that I've ever lived. Like, if you've never been, save yourself the trip money because it's basically just like a ticket to Afghanistan. It's miserable. I hate it there more than anything in the world. But some of the surrounding states are like New Orleans and Alabama and stuff like that. Well, this particular person happened to be from New Orleans. I didn't know that at the time. But like, as we got to talk and get to know each other and stuff, I came to find that out. So basically, I wasn't really being like a complete thought, but at the same time, like, I was trying to meet new people, like friends and everything. Like, so I downloaded this app called Badoo, not sponsored, don't want to be sponsored. So I saw his pictures, and he was really cute, like older guy, like probably like 29, 30 years old, and I'm 21, but that's not like out of my age range. Like, that's not crazy to me. I'm not like, ew, you old ass man, you're a pervert. Like, I'm attracted to older men, like, to an extent. Like, not like 50, 60-year-olds, like, can I be your grandpa? Like, no. He had like a really nice sense of style. Like, he's wearing Versace in his pictures and like Louis Vuitton, and he's got like tattoos all over him, but they're like nice tattoos, and his like hair is nice in every picture. He's got like nice jewelry, chains, watches. Like, he looks like money. Like, he looks like he is a good time and like somebody fun to hang out with. And I'm not thinking like, oh, I'm trying to hook up with this person. I'm not even looking for a boyfriend. Like, I'm looking for new cool ass acquaintances, and I just turned 21 at the time. Like, I'm trying to drink, honestly. I'm trying to like party. I'm trying to have a good time because I've never been able to do so legally, you know. He actually messaged me, I think, but he's one of the only few people that I replied to because obviously, like, I'm being picky. This guy messages me, and he's like, hi, how are you? He was like, so calling me beautiful, you know, usual fuck boy thing. But he messages me, and he's like, basically just calling me beautiful, asking me if I want to hang out sometime. I was like, well, I can't really hang out here because it's my grandma's place, and I'm not really looking to hook up. I'm not looking for a boyfriend. Like, I explain all this. Like, I just want to chill. I just want to party, you know. He's like, no, that's completely fine. I understand. I can respect that in a woman. Like, completely respects the fact that I tell him right off the bat, like, I'm not looking to hook up. After talking for like a week or so, just back and forth, like flirting and just like talking, getting to know each other, well, I find out actually in the time like talking to him, like it kind of like explains his like attire and like his whole like persona a little bit better. He is a rapper, so he sends me some links to his videos on YouTube, and I mean hundreds of thousands of views. I mean, and he actually sounds really good, not one of those like rapping in your basement. Like, his videos has like drones and airplane, like you can tell this like in mansions with models, and like he's legit. Like, he's driving like Bentleys, and like he's legit. So I'm like, is this really you? Like, what is going on? So of course, like, I'm texting my friends like, oh my god, I'm about to go hang out with this rapper. Oh my god, like, we're about to party. Like, he asked me if I want to hang out. We meet up. Obviously, he gets a hotel room because we can't hang out at my grandma's. Being weird about like going to his place anyways. I didn't really think it was weird. I kind of like at that point like felt like he was just trying to hook up with me. Like, I didn't really know. what was going on. But like once I found out like who he was and like went to his Instagram and saw pictures of like him with Wiz Khalifa from like 2 days before and shit, I was like, this is like too good to be true. And like I was kind of like being a groupie even though I didn't like know who he was. I still like wasn't planning on sleeping with him, but I was like, at the very least maybe we could get along. Maybe like something good will come out of this, even if we're just friends. Like maybe I've got like a connection with somebody that could like help establish me in the future. He pulls up driving this fucking nice ass like BMW. Like I don't even know what type of car it was. I don't know anything about cars, like honestly, like forgive me. But I remember like the license plate like lit up and it had like I don't know. It was just like so nice. Like maybe I'm like making it maybe there's like way nicer cars out there and I was just like tripping. But also he had on like a $40,000 Rolex. He's wearing like Versace, like these leather pants, like, and not like dollar store leather pants. Like I'm saying he looks like he is Drake right now, like dressed in this, like, honestly, I don't smoke weed anymore, but like, I'm just gonna throw this out there. He had like pre-rolls. Like I've never actually like seen anybody with these things. He's got like a $40,000 Rolex on. He's got a $250 bottle of rosé just like chilling in the car. Just mind blown. And like the whole ride to the hotel, which I should have known, like this is sketchy as fuck anyways. We're going to a fucking hotel, but I'm still just like so impressed. Like, and not just that, there's just little things everywhere. Like the S6, the Edge had just come out or whatever, and he had that phone. And like, not that that's that impressive, but just everything all together. Like, I mean, like I knew he was talking a lot of game like over the internet, but I'd never actually been around a person like with this much like swagger, if you will, that was like legit in person. Like, and then not only that, like he was just as good of a rapper. Like the whole ride there, he was like rapping. I'm like showing him stuff too, and because I was like trying to show off because I can like fast rap or whatever, and he's like I'm more of like a fan of like Snoop Dogg and like that down south pimp music. Like he's like saying stuff like that and he's rapping to me. I'm starting to notice like in all of his songs, like it is like down south like pimp music, like slower, like it's like a certain style, like it's like Snoop Dogg type music, and he is from New Orleans, Louisiana. So I'm like, okay, I get it. Fast forward, we get to the hotel, we get this, I'm like dressed like a thought from hell, just because I'm like trying to like do it up the best I can, you know what I mean? I don't have that many sexy outfits. I was like trying though. But he liked it, and I mean, he was like asking me to like spin around and shit, and he was like saying I was cute. This is just like a warning. Like everything he was doing, like he was just calling me beautiful. He was like telling me he wanted to like take over the world with me, and like talking to me like I was Beyonce and he was fucking Jay-Z. And I mean, literally, he could have been Jay-Z. Like literally, like I mean, he was like pulling out like wads of cash, and like he's got this liquor and all these pre-rolls and like $40,000 Rolex and this $100,000 car. Like I just had never, like I was so overwhelmed by just like the material things, and I know that's so like materialistic and like fucked up that like I was like, it was like Satan like in my face though, like like join the dark side. Now that I look back on it, like I was so blinded, and I'm so lucky that I like got out of this situation. So I get really drunk, I smoke a lot, and I'm just like turned the fuck up. I'm like, everything is just great. I was like, I just moved to this new place, and the first person I meet is this fucking jet setter, like go getter. I'm like, I'm gonna meet Wiz Khalifa. Like not for real, but like, I mean, he was like, and he was telling me, he's like, if you're going to be with me, like, he was like asking me about these older rappers, like Common and stuff, and I didn't really know who they were, and I still really don't, but he's like, if you're going to be, like, with me, if you're going to be my girl, you need to know, like, who these people are, because if we're ever around them, like, you represent me, and I don't want to be embarrassed. And it's like, all these things that he's saying are like, I just feel like he's like, I'm like, I don't know what it is about me. Maybe I just really did impress him enough. Like, maybe I really am just like talented enough and beautiful enough for this man. I'm like, maybe he's just like an older guy, and like I'm the first, like, even though he has money, like I don't know what I was thinking, like why I thought that I was like, but the things that he was saying, like honestly, in this night, the way he spoke to me and the way he talked, like I've honestly never had anybody talk to me like that. I did end up sleeping with him, not gonna lie. this is just a disclaimer, like, girls out there, please be careful, like, who you mess around with. We did use protection, and it was still a mistake, and I was just messed up, and I was, like, so blinded and so, like, gullible. We did end up sleeping together, and I mean, afterwards, he was just, like, staring at me the whole time, like, it's like he was, like, making love to me, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like he was trying to have a one-night stand, or it didn't seem like that anyways at the time. And then after we finished, he was like, "You want to be with me now? Like, you want to be my girl?" And I just started questioning things at this time, like, because he was, like, adamant after I slept with him, like, "You want to be my girl? You want to be my girl?" And I was like, I'm so confused. Like, it doesn't make sense why you want to be with me. Like, what do you mean, like, take over the world? What do you mean you're going to do all these things for me? And he's telling me he's going to do all these things for me. Like, in 5 years, I see you with a Porsche, and you with fucking designer handbags, and I'll rebuild your whole body. Like, let me show you some of the girls that I've made. So he starts showing me girls that he's made, and he shows me pictures of this one girl specifically, and I noticed that she's like the girl that's in a couple of his music videos. Now, she's like an older lady, not like old, but she's like 29, 30, but I mean, she's way hotter than I am. Like, I mean, she's got like the corset tattoos on the back of her legs. She has like a fake ass, clearly, like fake tits. I mean, she has tattoos on her that are just sexy as hell, long ass hair, like nice ass clothes. I'm looking at her Instagram. I mean, she has stacks of money bigger than I've even seen him with. I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean you made her? And he's like, "This is my girl. We've been together for like 10 years. And I was like, "What do you mean you've been together for 10 years? And then he starts explaining to me that that's just like his down girl or whatever. And he's like made other girls, but she's just been with him the longest and blah, blah, blah. And I like start putting it together in my head like, oh my God, this dude is like a pimp, like a real, like legit pimp. Like, and obviously he's like a big time one if he's friends with like these celebrities and these fucking, and he's like paying to get girls like ass jobs and boob jobs and tattoos. Honestly, like I was still like, I like started to realize it, but in my like crazy ass head, I like still hadn't like freaked out and told him to take me home yet or anything, because I was so fucked up, and I was like still like, oh my God, handbags, ass jobs, like I need that. No, but anyway, like I was like, but she's been with you for 10 years. Like, I was like, what about the other girls? And he's like, well, he's like, we'll get you put up in a hotel room. And I was like, but I don't have any clothes. He's like, well, we'll get you clothes. I'm like making excuses. Like, I don't want to do this, but at the same time, I'm like really drunk, and like I start coming to my senses, and I start just like telling him what he wants to hear. So like everything that he says, I start like making an excuse for, basically. He's like, let's go get your stuff right now. We drive back to my house, which is like 45 minutes away from where we went to the hotel. I forgot to mention this. My town had one stoplight where I was staying at in Mississippi, and we literally had to drive like 45 minutes away from there just to get a hotel room because there wasn't one within like range. I lived in a town that small, and he had never been there before. We're like 10 minutes away. I'm like, look, I don't think I can do this. Like, I really don't. I can't just like pack up and leave. I just got here like a week ago. It would break my grandmother's heart. Like, I don't think I'm ready for this. Like, I don't like the idea of it. I don't want to sleep with a bunch of different people in a day. Like, I don't, like, I started freaking out. I was like, what did I do, and who did I just sleep with? And like, thank God I used protection, but what the hell was I thinking? Like, what if he tries to kidnap me right here and there when I tell him no? Like, what if he tries to kill me? I was like, can you just give me like a week to get some stuff together? So I finally got back to my grandmother's house, and I like was freaking out. I was just so glad to be back home. Like, I was so worried that I wasn't gonna make it back home, because I mean, I don't know what all he was doing or what all kind of business he is involved in. And like, honestly, I mean, he could have just taken me right then and there. He leaves, and I just go home and I go to sleep. But for the next like week or so, he's like texting me constantly. He's like messaging me on Facebook. He's like, are you coming? Are you coming? Like, so when are you coming? And he told me like a lot of personal information, like about the people he knew, like about what he did. And I told him, I mean, the reason he pretty much like opened up to me is because like I kind of like told him I was going to be doing this with him, like to an extent. I was like, agreeing with him, and I was like saying, well, what about this and what about this? I like seemed genuinely intrigued. Messaging me, and I'm ignoring him, and I just ignored him for fucking weeks on end until he stopped messaging me. And then this is the fucked up part. I met somebody else, just like a friend. I met a couple people while I was down there. These were like normal people, but like I went to hang out with them, and I came back home, and my grandmother and her boyfriend were talking about this pimp, and they kept referring to him as the pimp, everybody calls him the pimp, and said that he had been in my grandmother's boyfriend's house talking about some girl, asking about some girl, and laid like $20,000 to $30,000 on the table. And that really freaked me out. And okay, my grandmother and her boyfriend, and I hate to say this, I'm not like talking bad about my family, but anybody who knows them knows like they're not really like all there. Like, and a lot of people in that area, like it was like a trailer park. It was like they were on stuff and they weren't really like all there. So when I come back, I like hear them talking about this, and I am like, what do you mean, like pimp? And they like described what he looked like and stuff, and I start freaking out. I was like, you mean he was here? Like, what was a pimp doing here, and what was he doing with all his money on the table? And they said that he was mentioning my name, that he was looking for some girl, a young girl, and that he mentioned my name. And I was like, oh my God, like, what did you say? Like, did you tell him anything about me? Like, what do you mean he was mentioning me and my name? And I showed them a picture, and I was like, is this who it is? Like, I went to his Instagram, and I showed them a picture, and I was like, is this who you're talking about? Yeah, that's him. Like, they were, like, all excited, though. They're like, he was so cool. Like, they were talking about him like he was the coolest guy in the fucking world. But, of course, they had no idea that he'd never been there before meeting me. But apparently he fed them some story that his brother lived there. And that is not true at all. Like, he's not even from Mississippi like in general, but he definitely had not, and he made it clear to me, like, where the fuck are we? What do you mean there's no hotels in this town? Like, he made it clear that he had never been there in his fucking life. And when you tell me that somebody with that kind of like money and power, who I have like that kind of information on, was mentioning me and asking where I was at and talking my name over a table with $20,000, like, it kind of just like, it kind of really scares the shit out of me. And honestly, talking about this right now, like, really scares me. This is one of the first experiences I had, was meeting this guy. And we talked about, like, Freemasons, and we talked about fucking celebrities, and we talked about, like, money and power. We were talking about a lot of personal things and, like, the business he was in. And it's, like, after that happened and after I kind of, like, found out about him, and I'm not gonna lie, like, now I'm broadcasting this on the internet, and it's kind of scary because there's potentially a lot of people are gonna see it. But before that, I mean, I was telling like my friends and stuff about it, like, oh my God, this guy like tried to pimp me out, like, he's a fucking celebrity, like, oh my God, he knows like these people, and he was trying to pimp me out. Like, it turns out he was a fucking pimp, like, because I was telling people about him before I found that out, and I was like, oh my God, you're never going to believe what actually happened. After that happened, I mean, so much weird stuff happened. I mean, I'd been robbed. I'd been like, I had people like come in my house. Like, there's a lot more to it than that. And I might have to like make a part 2. But that's like the height is when I heard that he was talking about my name with this money over the table. Next day I messaged him, and I'm like, literally the next day, literally, because I call like my dad freaking out about this. I call my friend Stephanie, like, I'm freaking out, like, because somebody, like, I've never seen anybody with this kind of money, and I know money is power, and I know he literally could like just pay somebody to shoot me in the fucking face to save his ass, because why wouldn't he? And like, he still might. Like, now I'm actually scared. But I'm like across the country now, but that's the thing, like, he can just catch a body and jump state to state. And let me tell you, I messaged him the next fucking day, and I was like, why were you, like, I literally asked 3 different people, is this who is here, like, doing this, showing them his picture. And I messaged him on Instagram the next fucking day, and I was like, why were you in, did I say the town? I'll have to bleep that out. I said the town's name, but I was like, why were you here, like, talking my name with like money on the table? Like, it really freaked me out. I was like, can you just tell me like what you were doing here? And he's like, what are you talking about? I've been in DC for the last 2 weeks. Okay, now I listen to a lot of rap music, okay? And a lot of them talking about catch a body and skipping state to state, okay? And definitely when you're talking about having money, like that's enough money to pay just about anybody off to keep their mouth shut, like at the very least. And I'm like, all this stuff's running through my head, and maybe I'm just paranoid as fuck, but like these people did not know him. He had never been there. Like, what do you think? Like, I know this information on him, and like if you listen to his songs, it's like talking about that underground money. If you get caught, better keep your mouth shut. Like, like, I don't know. It's like terrifying to me because, like, me knowing who he is and what he does. Get contacted by anybody, like, I don't want anything to happen in this video. But I'm not like scared for my life. I haven't felt threatened since I like moved from the state. That was just really scary. Oh, and one other thing. The next day to the grocery store after contacting him, like, hey, what were you doing here? And 3 nice-ass cars, like Audis and a Chrysler 300, like nice cars like that you didn't see in that town, were like trailing me so slow. And I like turn around and look like, what the fuck? And I see his bottom bitch in the first fucking car on the phone, like staring dead ass at me, like going so slow. Like it scared the shit out of me. Like that's when I was like, I need to get the fuck out of this place. Like I don't know like what his deal is. And then after I like found out more information, like he might have been there like buying drugs, who the fuck knows? Like I don't know his fucking business like that. Like it might have honestly had nothing to do with me. But then like I knew something else about him. Like here he was in this fucking town, and he's like, I've been out of town for the last 2 weeks. I mean, that's what was scariest to me, honestly. And it's just that I like ignored him, and like I told him that he could like trust me and that I was going with him after he told me all this like valuable information. Like I just feel like I'm like more of like a liability than anything at that point. I mean, hopefully he's not threatened by me. I'm not mentioning any names at all. Hopefully nobody knows who I'm talking about. But yeah, that's gonna be all for this storytime video. I'm sorry it was so long. Like hopefully the other ones won't be. Definitely got some more crazy story times for you guys, believe me. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you liked this video and want more crazy ass story times, just like this video or comment down below. Subscribe to me on my social media. Snapchat #1, Twitter #2, and fuck all the rest. Who really gives a shit about those? But yeah, it's late as fuck at night.